Hello, everyone. Welcome to another session with the filmmakers. As you know, we've been having conversations with some filmmakers who have had their films at the Accra Indie Film Festival 2023, and they're going to be screening from the 31st of July till the 5th of August 2023. So that is the reason why we're here again today with one of the filmmakers whose films is in the festival this year. He goes by the name KOFI NTIFORO, and we'll get to know more about him as the interview commences. So welcome, KOFI.
Thank you, Alice. Nice to be here. Yeah.
Nice to have you as well. So my name is Alice Johnson, and I'm going to be your moderator as per usual. Before we actually begin, I would like to read your bio. I couldn't memorize because it's a mouthful.
No problem.
Is a lot. So let me just get to it right now. Here's a little about KOFI. So KOFI NTIFORO is a self-taught filmmaker born and raised in Ghana. In between studying for his first degree in quantity surveying and building economics in Ghana, and a master's in project management from Northumbria University in London. He discovered his passion for writing and filmmaking through a fortunate event of serendipity. After his first short film in 2015, Stay, a short story on abusive relationships, which he shot in Ghana on his iPhone 5 with his classmates, KOFI yet again teamed up with his project management classmate, Felipe, in London for his experimental short film, God Spelled Backwards, which garnered 11 nominations and won 4 international awards, including Best Cinematography at the Europe Film Festival, UK, in 2020. So as a writer, his writing style and subjects usually live within the subtext. KOFI has some long experience in camera operating, editing, and motion graphics, which come in handy for most parts of this project. And for the near future, KOFI is working towards writing and directing more films to tell stories that hopefully inspire, challenge minds across the world. So that is our guest today. A lot to share, but he's definitely going to unpack from the beginning, from filming on an iPhone 5 till now.
Wow, that was some bio.
It's yours.
Yes. So as you rightly read, I discovered filmmaking by accident. I loved movies growing up, definitely, but I never had the dream of being a filmmaker because I didn't even know if that was possible, you know. So there was one time when I asked a friend for some, files and movies, and he transferred, like an installation file for Adobe Premiere Pro. So I installed it and I realized, oh, I can put pictures and videos together, and with research, and I was on KN University campus then.
Okay.
I went to the cafe to learn a lot about it. So it kind of boosted my curiosity. I thought, okay, so this is what, just finding out that Hollywood actually uses the software to make movies.
Right.
I was like, wow, I can actually do this. So I actually started as an editor, and I was like, okay, I can't be sitting on this doing just commercial projects because I was getting like paid on campus to do like arts and stuff. And I was like, okay, I want to write my own script, So I got some classmates together. We did a film called Stay that was on like abusive relationship, Then it actually garnered a lot of like attention because I had close friends, especially female, who, because it was about a woman, who got in touch with like, I'm going through something like this, so thank you for this film. And I was shocked. And at that point, I wasn't too versed into like like the story that I was writing was just for fun, to be honest. So I didn't even know how to move on to help, these people. So just growing, I just thought that, oh, I could actually use filmmaking as a tool, to amplify such voices and such stories, So Stay was the first one. And funny enough, what actually, because as a filmmaker, it's not easy, so what actually boosted my interest was after we are done with the film, it actually showed at some of the cinemas on campus. Like, like the big films come and show and premiere on campus and stuff. So they would actually show it before people watch it. And we realized that there was another group of people who did a production with the same titles, same storyline, but of course different actors. So I was like, oh, so we're actually ripped off. And that was an inspiration to me, like, okay, we actually did something good, you know? So I was like, okay, then I can actually be a filmmaker, write stories and inspire people to either be inspired or copy or whatever. So that was really inspiring to me. No, like it became a whole like, should we do a legal thing? But I didn't have money then, so there was no point, But that's inspired me and said, okay, no matter what trajectory I find myself, I think if I do something like this, it would help people and have a great impact. So that was a stepping stone. Then I found myself doing a master's in project management and also gathered my classmates again. It's just like a party, And we did a film called Gospel Backwards, which is an experimental film. But that one wasn't shot on iPhone. We did it on the Black Magic, and it's just about, it was just a story about how as human beings we try to break off like addictions and cycles, but then we get stuck, as it's said in scripture that as a dog goes back to his vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. So it's just like cyclical what's the word? There's this word, human condition, basically. Yes. And we were even surprised that it got any nomination at all, because it's a very, very strange film, in my opinion. And we won 4 awards, which is humbling and surprising. But another factor that was like, okay, so if you make stuff, people would be interested, because there's always this doubt. I've always had this trying to find the word, imposter syndrome, right? Because I didn't study film, so I feel like I'm an outsider, looking in, learning, and I appreciate a lot of like great filmmakers locally and internationally. So I always had a feeling that I don't know much of the lingo. I'm always learning, like I'm not part of that. So it's like all these things kind of like boosted my morale and like, okay, I can actually do something, So I think from there, then we did another film on an iPhone, Dream Job, which is also doing very good, a 1-minute film, then there comes Colors and Lights, So it's been a very humbling journey, which I could never have orchestrated. It's just following my guts and surrounding myself with like very creative and even more talented people who have made all this possible. Yeah.
Amazing stuff. Now, just to pick up what you said, I was speaking with one other filmmaker from the UK. He's Don John, and in my interaction with him and Richard, his co-producer for the film that they have screening at the festival, Richard mentioned that throughout his journey as a filmmaker, there was one particular moment when an idea of his was stolen and actually was developed into a multi-million-dollar production, which he saw was very huge, but unfortunately he couldn't reap any benefits. And you also just mentioned right now, you spoke about the fact that your idea was copied, even the title and everything. So how were you able to handle that? Because for Richard, I mean, when I was speaking with him, he had it's made him crawl into his shell. So he wasn't really able to explore his talent after that particular period. He just decided to make films that really mattered to him, not really the commercial kind. But then for you, if anything, I would say it pushed you. So how are you able to take that and then move with it as opposed to the latter?
Yeah, I think maybe in contrast to Richard's story, like the ripoff was a massive success. So of course that would actually break you, because it's like, wow, this was my idea. But for ours, it's like the lead actress got in touch. I was like, Kofi, look at this. This is the same, like same title, same storyline, everything. And they were selling tickets. We didn't even sell tickets for ours. But I think the funny thing is we did ours on an iPhone and they were like the behind the scenes, they had a whole crew and all that. But we still did a good job, a better job than they did. So it was more comforting. It's like, at least we still
Yes,
tried our best. And of
yes.
course, we're trying to seek some legal counsel, but I realized that it was going to be a long thing. And we've been trying to get in touch with the other team. And like it was a long battle of, being defensive and all that. So we just had to let it go. And I had to just change the perspective and see it more as an inspiration and a stepping stone. It did break me a bit, I wouldn't lie, because there was even a very tough journey going through like making that first film. I lost all the files, thank God I backed up, but I lost all the files I was working on. The computer crashed, I had
No.
to re-edit the whole thing. I promised the world the film was coming out 1st July or so, I think. But then I couldn't hold up to that because the file crashed. And I had friends come from Kumasi and all over. Even Jennifer was there. And we sat in my room. I was so depressed because I was like, what am I doing in my life if I can't do this thing? So they helped me work on the film, bring it back to life, and we released it. So it was a really emotional and physical journey, making it. Because you shoot it, you're happy, but then to bring it to life, because I actually wanted to do it like I've learned online, like Hollywood. We had scores, not a score. We had like 3 or 4 scores.
Wow.
I had computers, do scores for the film. We had everything, like marketing and all that. And we do all ourselves, so I was proud of it, so at the end of the day, I mean, we couldn't do much because we realized that it would be like a wild goose chase. So we just had to let's go and see it as a staple in the journey. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those things that happens once you're a creative, your intellectual property can be taken at any point in time. That's why we're hopeful that there can be more legal or affordable legal interventions, especially for indie filmmakers, so that they can afford to be able to fight for what is theirs. Exactly. Yes. So listeners, viewers, if you are here, we are still talking with Kofi, and he is here to promote his film that is going to be screening at the Indie Film Festival, Accra Indie Film Festival, that is going to happen from the 31st of July till the 5th of August, 2023. It's happening. It's going to be a lot of activities at the Alliance Française in Accra, so don't miss any of the sessions. We're going to definitely share every single detail of the screenings, venues as the days commence. So watch out for that. So getting into support for as a filmmaker or as someone who then decided that this is what I want to do, support. I heard you saying a lot of times that your friends, bringing friends together. How were you able to fund your previous projects and then also this particular project for which you are in the festival, Colors and Light?
So for stay and chronological order, that was self-funded. I mean, that was mostly friends coming together, no one charging. And it's been funny. I had this good friend, Jobo Johannes. He has a studio now, and he had these like backgrounds, like stage lights, huge stage lights that are meant for filming, and that's what we used to film. So we kind of like bounce them off the walls, so that's because they're too strong, So he was doing that business on campus for like churches and events, So it's just no one charged me, and it didn't really cost much because I didn't have to feed like the crew, which of course I had to learn that hey, you have to take care of your people and all
exactly.
that.
Yes.
I know I was complaining because we are just excited creating something. So moving on from then, yes, I'll say it's been Gospel Backwards was also partly sponsored, self-funded. Then I got help from Aiko, who was the producer at the time in the UK. Yes, so that was like a partnership. Yes, and for Colors and Lights too, I would say it was I have like this production company called Wolf. So it was me and a business partner, Elom. So she helped, like we brought funds together to make it happen. But mostly it's either self-funded plus crowdfunding, which is friends and family, you know, and mostly asking for favors because it's quite, you know, filmmaking is not easy, you know, especially the funding part in our part of the world. So it's mostly asking for favors and just hoping that people reap, you know, the benefits from their contributions. But of course, we do remit, you know, mostly. So it's like, oh, you have a friend who will charge X amount, but we can just give you like A. So it just favors at the end of the day. Yes, but we're just hoping to get to the point where you can pay everyone their talents worth. But of course, we do have commercial projects where people, you know, once in a while. Yeah. So aside like filmmaking, I also do like commercial projects on the side. You know, I'm a motion graphic artist, an editor as well. So that's what actually brings in the money, you know, because there isn't much money in filmmaking if you're not making a feature film, you know, or selling. Yes. So it's the editing that brings the money in, and you can like, you know, back up and save up to make a film. You know, but even that, it's not always wise to put all your eggs in one basket. So it's like team up with like great people who are interested, and even that even widens the idea and all that. Yeah.
Right, amazing. So the importance of community, I realize it's been a thing from those that I've spoken to from different sides of the world. No matter where we are, is the importance of community coming together and bringing your own resources as much as possible to make things work. And that's the beauty of filmmaking. Now let's delve into colors and lights. How long did it take you to make that piece of work, that beautiful piece of work that I've seen, and I hope those watching will come and see because it's really beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a long time coming. Actually, the film is attached to a soundtrack, you know, Colors and Lights by Ghanaian soul singer Mystery. And that song was made in 2015. That was the time about I was finishing KM. Yes. And we tried doing like a music video for the song, but nothing came up. We even tried an animation. We got like a 3D guy, you know. So it's like it's gone through a lot of iterations. And she as an artist is releasing like some new music, and I was like, okay, what about if we do something with Colors and Light? It's a very old song, but then I don't want to do music video because the concept of a music video is it's a promotional tool for like a song or the artist, you know. So in actuality, it took about, I'll say 2 to 3 months to fully do this project, you know, because the concept we had was to because I was thinking like how to even break into the scene as a filmmaker for a while, like to get money. And I was like, okay, maybe commercials. But then you approach a client on an idea and they kind of like, you know, turn it down or want it a certain way, which is not the brand you want. So I just kept thinking, and it's like having ideas every day. I was like, okay, so why don't we do like put all these people, a lot of people, commercials in one project and put it out there. So I spoke to Mystery about it, and she was happy with the idea. But okay, because the song talks about like having like dreams, having like, you know, just letting your colors and light, like what's inside of you show, you know, proudly. So it kind of matched that idea. So I was like, instead of focus on one entrepreneur or one, you know, commercial to make, why don't you make several commercials and put it together? So that's how we approached the project. But then watch it, you know, I don't know how you're going to see it, whether it's going to look like commercial and documentary or music video. So we kind of danced around all these channels. Yeah.
To me, it seemed more like it was like a musical documentary of some sorts, because I was seeing all these individuals, you know, showcasing their, you know, I'm not going to say much. That's the whole point of this. You guys have to come and watch it yourself. So it's going to be screened one of the days between 31st of July and 5th of August. So come around and then watch Colors and Light. So so you've mentioned that you did it in collaboration with your colleague Elom, and Yes, and then your production company, Wolf Wolf, and everything came together to bring this particular project to life. So,
Yeah.
apart from this particular festival, has it gone out to other places? Have you been able to tour with it? What has been the outcome of this project?
Thankfully, our first selection has been the Accra Indie Film Festival, and we are happy because that's like the local African premiere, you
Mm,
know. But we haven't heard from anyone yet, but we have applied to like Zambian International Film Festival,
right.
even the TIFF Festival,
Okay.
in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
so there are a number of them, several ones. I think Jennifer had the best insights on all of them, but we have applied to about like a dozen of them, yeah. So we are just hoping that, the message, and what Accra Indie Film saw in us would be, yeah, rippled out to the others too. Yeah, so because the thing is, the way the project is, as you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't even promote much of the filmmaker or filmmakers on the team. It's who is on the screen,
Yes.
so it's good for anyone because, for example, if there's a Washington sees, X on the screen and he comes to Ghana, it's like, oh, I want this thing. I saw this
Yes.
guy, yeah. So
Yes.
that's the whole plan.
Yeah, it's a very smart way of putting brands out there. Apart from that, it's just beautiful to see how the colors and the lights and the music just combine to make this project very, very beautiful. I call it beautiful because there's no other way to describe it. So guys, come and watch it for yourself. But then I just want to get into a more light-hearted side. So when you're not making films, when you're not being KOFI Intiforo, the director, having the camera in hand or editing, what do you do?
I don't know if this is still away from that, but I'm also an artist, like a digital artist,
Oh,
you know.
okay.
Yeah, so I make like illustrations, which
Mm,
I haven't done much this year, but um, it's something that my wife pushed me to do because it's
okay.
like you have all these ideas, put them into illustration. And funny enough, I think I started 2020 because of the pandemic. Yes.
Mhm.
And I've already been accepted into about 3 or 4 exhibitions. And there's
Oh,
a gallery in the UK representing me, So I was like, wow, it's like,
wow.
okay, people want this kind of work. So it's like I try and do that on the side. But aside that, if I'm not making films, I'm either looking for films to watch
Mm.
or, you know, I try to read. It's hard. I don't know why, but it's hard for some filmmakers to read. I'm one
Great.
of them. Yeah, I try to read, or I'm learning, I'm watching something online, or yeah, basically just trying to get into other art forms.
Mm.
It could be theater, it could be fashion, not necessarily creating, but like learning about that. Because I realized that I actually did a bit of music, back in school, and a
Oh,
little everything. So it kind of like helped, or it's helped me as a filmmaker. So it's
mm.
just learning new things basically. Yes. And I like to travel to Massawa
Okay. That's
locally.
nice. That's really nice. So, final words to anyone watching. Why should they come and watch Colors and Lights? And what are also your final words or take home to anyone watching?
Um, I would say, yeah, you should watch Colors and Lights because it's it's something that I think inspires more than just the viewer. It's going to inspire you as a viewer. It's going to inspire you as a person. It's going to help you discover things that you may have thought you knew about certain people,
Mm.
or yes, like it's an experience, if you get me. And I think I feel like it might be a start of something great for the people who are involved,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. So the take home for me, for anyone who's interested or who come to watch, is just inspiration. I think it's gonna make you feel like, oh, I actually can do ABC. but I haven't really had the time to sit down and, I haven't had the courage. Yes, so it's going to make you think that's fate. Hopefully, yes.
And hopefully everyone who watches this would get a chance also come and watch the films that we have at the festival. It's happening 31st July to 5th August. Come around with your family and friends. There's going to be musical concerts. There's going to be film screenings, a lot of workshops as well. So don't miss any of them. Thank you so much, KOFI, for your time. It's been a great conversation, getting to know the man behind the art, and then also seeing the work that you've done, colors and lights, and how inspiring it can be to anyone at all. So I wish you a great rest of the day, and we'll see you in our next conversation.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye.
Bye.